Assalamu alaikum everyone. I'm your host Muhammad Hamad Khan and I welcome you all to this interactive session on Globalink Research Internship Program. Today with us we have our very own and special guest Hira Mehman. Assalamu alaikum Hira.
Walaikum assalam. Thank you for having me, Hamad.
You are welcome. Hira is a student of electrical engineering at NUST PNEC Karachi and right now she is working as a research intern at York University, Canada. So without further ado, I'll start asking different questions regarding this internship program. Okay, Hira. So first of all, मेरे पास जो questions है, I'll start with the basic ones and then we'll move forward to more specialized like how to make a resume and how to select the projects, right?
Sure.
Okay.
Let's go ahead.
Hira, my first question is that as you know that this is a research internship program and mostly students are concerned that what to do if you have no research experience or no relevant industry experience. तो ऐसे सिनेरियो में क्या उस बच्चे को अप्लाई करना चाहिए नहीं करना चाहिए एंड इफ ही अप्लाइज तो उसका क्या चांसेस होंगे?
Okay, so first of all, you need to know कि basic क्या चीज़ें हैं जिन पर यहाँ पर they select your you are actually given a priority. So number one is your CGPA. You need to have a very good CGPA, and then a research and research background or a publication to be exact would be a very huge plus point क्योंकि यहाँ पे competition काफ़ी high होता है तो उसमें अगर आपके पास ये एक चीज़ होती है तो that would give you an edge over other students लेकिन as far as applying is concerned I think everyone should apply. It's like the application is free, why not give it a shot. लेकिन डेफिनेटली कुछ चीज़ें होती हैं जो आपको एक एज दे देती हैं दूसरों के ऊपर एंड रिसर्च एक्सपीरियंस वुड डेफिनेटली गिव यू एन एज. तो इस तरह है कि अगर आप अभी अगर सेकेंड ईयर में हैं इस वक्त तो आई वुड एक्चुअली रेकमेंड कि आप अपनी यूनिवर्सिटी में हर कैंपस में यूजुअली नस्ट के तो देर आर सर्टन लैब्स सो यू कैन join those labs. You can get certain experience in that lab. So even if you don't get a publication out of it, you have something to show in your CV that reflects कि आपने research में कुछ काम किया हुआ है. That would actually enhance your chances of getting selected. लेकिन I know people जिन्होंने research internships नहीं की and yet they are here. So there are chances of you getting selected.
Okay, Hira, and a similar question: if you don't have a research experience in industry, तो do semester projects suffice this requirement? अगर किसी ने कोई similar semester में एक project किया हुआ है, although वो एक high level पे नहीं, एक छोटा सा prototype है या just a semester requirement, so would it work in equivalent to this?
As I said earlier, internships would obviously give you an edge, but it isn't a requirement. It isn't a mandatory requirement. I mean, if you have a project that you can, show in your CV, definitely show it, and I think it would work. This would work a lot, but that needs to be very much in line with the projects that you're applying. So when you're applying for a project, make sure कि आपने जो project पहले जिस पर काम किया है वो आपके जिस प्रोजेक्ट पे आप अप्लाई कर रहे हैं उससे इन लाइन हो तो आपके चांसेस you get better chances.
Okay, Hira, very well answered. अच्छा यार my next question is कि as you know इसमें आपको reference letter की भी जरूरत होती है तो what do you think how important it is to have a reference letter and do you recommend that students should write their reference letters on their own by using certain jargons and vocabulary या फिर हम सिर्फ अपने teachers को ही कह दें कि yes please write us a reference letter? What do you say in this regard?
All right, so reference letter are, I would say it is a mandatory requirement for me. Like, there are two modes of giving your reference letters on this portal. एक ये होता है कि आप directly अपने professor से कहें कि वो directly email कर दें to MITACS. The other one is कि आप खुद अपना reference letter professor से लें and then वो PDF upload कर दें. I would say the former is a better option क्योंकि वो ज़ाहिर सी बात है direct email होता है तो वो एक ज़्यादा अच्छा impact आता है. लेकिन एंड ऑब्वियसली व्हेन यू आर सेइंग कि आप अपने जार्गन्स यूज करके आप पूरा वो एक स्क्रिप्ट लिखें एंड देन आप प्रोफेसर से कहें कि वो सबमिट करें दैट इज प्रैक्टिकल टू बी वेरी ऑनेस्ट. यही प्रैक्टिकल होता है लेकिन आप जब लिख रहे हो सो यू गोटा डू सम सॉर्ट ऑफ रिसर्च. इस तरह नहीं कि बहुत ज़्यादा ही हाई लिंग्विस्ट या हाई लैंग्वेज आपने यूज़ कर ली है. तो keep it simple, but definitely this helps. It's practical. You can uh, write something down for your professor and then they can, submit it. So that's better. But try to make it कि आपके प्रोफेसर से इतने अच्छे contacts हों कि वो directly email कर दें आपके लिए, because that itself is, you know, एक extra काम होता है, तो that I would suggest you.
Right, Hira, I get it. Hira, मेरा दूसरा question ये होगा कि as you know there are a lot of projects and as you know that in some parts of Canada French भी बोली जाती है. तो if by any chance किसी student को थोड़ी बहुत French आती है and he applies to certain projects in which the professor speaks French or French is involved in some way or another and he also reflects this on his resume, तो do you think इस तरह उस candidate को कोई फायदा होगा just by using that language?
Okay, about this, like मैं अपना पहले बता देती हूँ कि I think you've already introduced me. तो मैं यॉर्क यूनिवर्सिटी में होती हूँ, which is in Toronto, and here predominantly English is spoken. However, there are MITACS GRIs that I know जो predominantly French, you know, regions में काम कर रहे हैं. And they all speak English, to be very honest. So, you know, that depends upon the type of project that you're applying to. If you're the project that you're applying to, उसके professor जो हैं वो French prefer करते हैं. Now, there are 3,112 projects this year, I believe. तो अब within those जो professors उसको prefer करते होंगे, obviously you'll get an edge over that, right? Over other interns, other people who will be applying. So it is very, you can say, subjective in that sense. I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, Hera, it answered very well. Acha, Hera, my next question is students have noticed this in the past as well, certain professors, when they were searching for the prospects, so certain professors were like, their names were Muslim, and some of them were from Pakistan, India, and countries like South Asia. So do you think this gives a candidate any sort of benefit if he applies to a project in which the conducting professor is Pakistani, or let's say if he's a Muslim, anything like that?
Here, I would actually say yes. This actually gives you an edge because you understand. I hope you understand that this was the first time that my year is the first time when MITACS Globalink Research Internship has been introduced in Pakistan. So this is very, it's very understandable for a lot of professors, um, the Pakistani professors specifically to prefer Pakistani students because I personally know professors, even my own professor is a Pakistani professor. So yeah, so these professors actually wanted Pakistani students to come to Canada. So what they want is us to come here, and therefore they will definitely give you an edge over other students, and that helps, But having that said, it does not mean that uh, only these professors would be selecting you based on your CV. Other professors can also, select you. So um, again, you can get selected based on your CV, but you do get an edge with Pakistani or Muslim names.
All right, Hera, you answered it very well. Okay, Hera, now we will be moving on to next category of questions, and it would be mostly regarding the resume, right?
Mhm.
ओके तो हेरा एज यू नो कि रेज्यूमे एक ऐसी चीज है, मतलब दिस इज समथिंग वेरी ओपन एंडेड, इसके बारे में कोई हम फिक्स रूल्स डिसाइड नहीं कर सकते. एंड गिवन द सिनेरियो इन दिस इंटर्नशिप प्रोग्राम, हाउ यू वुड से सजेस्ट टू कैंडिडेट्स दैट हाउ शुड दे frame up their CVs or resume, and what is the requirement, like it should be limited to one page or it can exceed more than one page, and what's the stuff that is required for this resume making?
All right, so there isn't any requirement as of, limiting it to one page only. You can extend it to more than one pages. In fact, I believe it's that would be even better. Try to make well-structured sections and a minimalist design. Mine was simply black and white. It was nothing sort of fancy, very decent design. And there's this one design that I think MyTex also shared as a template, I believe. So you can probably follow that. Moreover, try to use the action words and don't go just writing a name कि ये मैंने काम this title of the place that you worked at and then nothing else. Do add a line or something that actually explains it. And then the general resume writing जो होती हैं आपकी the things that you need to add in your resume वो section. So मतलब I think there is a lot of information online on that, so you can go through that. But it's mainly keep it very minimalist and simple so that the professor can actually understand what work you've done. Try to, if you have any research experience before, yeah, if you have anything that's, your CGPA or research internship जैसी चीजें, उनको बहुत अच्छे से highlight कर दें. If you've got a publication, I mean, do make sure to, add those things um, uh, at the highest priority.
All right, Hera, I get it. And in continuation to this question, I'll also ask that does having a well optimized and well maintained LinkedIn profile works in this regard, which we can add
Uh,
on our resume as well?
all right. So when we talk about LinkedIn, personally, I would not only say LinkedIn to be connected to the application and this process, because I know people who had LinkedIn's with, which weren't well maintained. But personally, like for me, LinkedIn worked in different ways. I was able to connect with so many people before even arriving here in Canada. So like before even came here, I already knew like some 10 GRIs already who are from India. We were really less. Pakistanis तो बहुत ही कम थे. तो पाकिस्तानियों से भी contacts बन गए, Indian से भी contacts बन गए. How? With LinkedIn. LinkedIn works in that way. So you can use LinkedIn not only as a platform for, आपकी application के chances बढ़ाने के लिए, but you can also use it for networking in general, or that is exactly what LinkedIn is, right? So इस तरह you get to know people, और आपको even like while I was working on my application, I would just, ask alumni. We didn't have any Pakistani alumni, so I would ask Indian alumni for guidance. So this is how LinkedIn works. I would actually, say, you gotta work on your LinkedIn profile, and, you make best use of it.
All right, Hera, I get it. LinkedIn is something very important in these days.
Yeah.
Indeed. Okay, here I have another question. It's regarding the projects. Before we start deeply about it, but it's just a general question that let's say if a candidate has done several projects in his country, but whilst he is applying for the research internship, those projects are totally different. Like for example, he has done work in industry, let's say automotive industry, and if he's applying for machine learning projects. So do you think it's a good sign that he would be given preferences like he's totally changing the stream? So what would you say in this regard?
All right. What I've seen here is definitely you do get preferences if you are in the same stream, but I don't think it would have that huge of an impact. It definitely has some impact. The professor is gonna check, कि CV में ये चीजें सीखी हैं, ये मेरे project के साथ aligned है या नहीं है. But then there are other, constraints, other things as well. So I think you can get selected despite having some different stream of work. So if you can in any way prove that your project was aligned, you can actually work in this project by आप अपने पुराने courses बता दें. अगर समझें आपने machine learning का कोई project किया हुआ है, and then signal systems का project यहाँ पर इधर Globalink में आप मिलता है आपको प्रोजेक्ट. सो यू कैन जस्ट शो कि भाई मैंने ये सारे कोर्सेज किए हुए हैं, मैंने पहले सिग्नल सिस्टम का कोर्स किया है. यू कैन जस्ट शो कि ये सारे कोर्सेज मेरे मेरे पास हैं एक्स्ट्रा. तो by that you can actually secure the project here as well. And
Exactly, ठीक हो गया Hira. Hira, my next question is regarding the application form, right? So yesterday I was scrolling through the whole application form and it was definitely full of generic questions which candidate can easily answer. But there were two specific questions and they were regarding writing short essays of approximately 100 words. So first of all, it was there was a box which said that you write about your background knowledge, research interest, and experience. So what do you say? How should students answer this very question?
okay, here I would say show your motivation. You know, don't just use it. You got to use a technical jargon, but I would prefer showing your motivation into why you want to, you know, you show your background as well, but you also show your interest. So like how my essay was structured was like the starting paragraphs were about the things that I've worked on, and then the skills that I've gained, and then finally it was about what was actually driving me towards research. So I use this last line actually to just show my interest into research. So I would also suggest others to do the same.
Okay, so it's like more about telling your motivation and telling your pain that why you are interested to come instead of
Yes,
writing about what you have done in the past because it's already
because
mentioned in
that's
your resume.
exactly, it's already in the CV, but you gotta you have to explain that, but in a very different way, in a way that you're showing your motivation, you know.
I get it. I get it. And the next question was, what are your notable achievements? Now, this is also a very open-ended question. In what terms students should tackle this, given the fact we have to answer it in 100 words?
Yeah. So with this one, like for I mean, you can add some society being, head of the society or head of any department, stuff like that. Or you can just talk about any publication you've you have any publication in your bag. You have that in the CV as well, but do add that here, and things like that can come out as very important. Other than that, you can talk about any if you've taken part in any competition, national competition. You can just say and if you won anything out of it, you can put all those things here. So notable achievements are typically like I use bullet points for that. I didn't do any paragraph वाली चीज. मैंने bullet points में ही बता देता ये है इस तरह की मेरी achievements है. So I would suggest others to do the same.
Okay, Hira, this pretty much answers this question. Hira, मेरा next question आपसे होगा regarding the projects. And as you know, this is something most important element of this application process. So first of all, I'll ask you that as you know, minimum 3 projects are need to be selected and maximum 7. So how do you say the students should put these projects in standing? What should be the back end technique in which they can secure maximum chance of winning the project and at the same time the chances should be increased. What do you say?
All right. So what first you list down the limitations that you have. If you're open to going anywhere in Canada, that's perfectly fine. I mean, apply to as many provinces as you can, choose as many places as you can. Personally, like I wanted to be in Toronto. That was my own preference. But there's this limitation in the application as well that you need to select these 7 projects which span over 3 provinces. So what I did was like the 5 projects were from Toronto or Ontario in general, and then the other 2 projects were from other places. So that is because it's a very Toronto is the hub, and it's just very multicultural, diverse. You get the experience that you wouldn't get other places. So uh, that was one thing. That is like one part. Now talking about the projects and securing the maximum chances of securing that project. For that, I would suggest to, obviously there are some universities that are really highly ranked, and the others that are uh, ranked at like fine. So what you can do is, if you wanna hit, one university that's really good, or probably 2, then you need to actually have 5 other universities that are okay-ish, or like not the top of the league, right? So that would actually improve your chances of getting in there, because for the university, the big names actually, like University of Toronto, the Waterloo, for those universities, the competition is very high. So, you know, you have to choose other universities as well. So don't just go over the big names. If you want to, make a bet, just make it on 1 or 2 positions. That's what I would say.
ऑल राइट हिरा और जिस तरह की आपने रैंकिंग के बारे में बात की तो डू यू थिंक क्यूएस रैंकिंग के अकॉर्डिंगली अगर स्टूडेंट्स अपनी यूनिवर्सिटीज को स्टैंडिंग के ऊपर नीचे रखें तो टू बी फाइन लाइक 2-3 यूनिवर्सिटीज ऑफ टॉप रैंकिंग ऑन द ऑन फर्स्ट एंड followed by low ranked universities. So QS
Uh,
ranking is enough, or should we consider other things as well?
Okay, so you're saying कि ranking आपने किस तरह करनी है for the
Exactly.
universities, right? Okay, so in my case इस तरह हुआ था कि मैंने अभी application भर दी थी उस वक्त ये ranking वाली चीज़ इतना problem नहीं था. Then जब आपके पहले राउंड होते हैं, एक राउंड आपका दिसंबर या नवंबर में आता है, सेकंड राउंड आपका होता है कोई जनवरी फरवरी में, ठीक है? तो जनवरी फरवरी में कैंडिडेट अंडर कंसिडरेशन में जब मैं आई थी, it was then when they actually asked me to re-rank my projects. So we were given an opportunity to re-rank the projects as well. So what I did was, मुझे उस वक्त एक कॉल आ गई थी, तो अब आई न्यू कि ये वाले प्रोफेसर एक्चुअली इंटरेस्टेड हैं टू एक्चुअली गेट मी इन दिस प्रोग्राम. सो फिर मैंने उनको टॉप पर रैंक कर दिया था. तो that's something I did later on. At this point, I think US ranking is the only criteria you can rank the projects.
Okay, so you mean they give you some time after, even after
They,
filling the form?
yes, they do.
ओके ओके हीरा, मेरा एक और क्वेश्चन यहाँ पे ये होगा कि आपने देखा होगा मोर देन 3000 प्रोजेक्ट्स इस बार इसमें आए, एंड सम आर रिलेटेड टू हार्डकोर इंजीनियरिंग फील्ड्स एंड सम आर नॉन टेक्निकल एंड रिलेटेड टू नॉन इंजीनियरिंग फील्ड्स लाइक एंथ्रोपोलॉजी, सोशल साइंस स्टफ लाइक दिस. तो इन ऑर्डर टू लाइक सिमिलरली इंक्रीज द चांसेस ऑफ एनी कैंडिडेट, तो उसको ऐसा करना चाहिए कि वो कुछ इंजीनियरिंग के प्रोजेक्ट्स को ऊपर रख के बाद में कुछ नॉन इंजीनियरिंग प्रोजेक्ट्स को नीचे वाली रैंकिंग में रख दे, ताकि अगर उसका इंजीनियरिंग में ना हो तो ही कैन मेक टू इन एनी नॉन इंजीनियरिंग प्रोजेक्ट given the fact he meets some of those requirements or criteria.
Okay, so what do you mean by like the non-engineering projects that are completely not related to engineering? Is that what you're
Yeah,
saying?
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
I would not suggest that because obviously, if it's not related to your program, the anthropology professor wouldn't actually get an engineering student under his humanities project. So, like, I know personally know some people who are working under professors in arts or in history. So they are actually studying history back in their country. So that's why they're here. So I don't think that that would actually be a waste. You'd be wasting those positions.
I get it. I basically asked this question because I have witnessed that there are some projects in which Islamiyat and Islamic studies are involved. So I
Oh,
thought being a Muslim, one can claim that, okay, I can do something in it. But you answered it very well. I get it. I get it. Okay, Hira, I think we are now about to conclude, but before we do that, I have two important questions. As you know that we are hearing that this is a fully funded internship program, right? So, like, can you please tell us what are the things that are fully funded? What's the stipend? What about the accommodation and other things? And there any sort of initial cost that is borne by the student, him or herself, before leaving the country, or anything similar to that? Please go ahead with this.
all right. So what happens is you get your award letter. In that, everything is stated. You are gonna get this is the amount. Like if you're gonna get, I think it was 1,500 Canadian dollars for the airfare, 200 per week for the living stipend. So I think total it amounts to 9,000 Kenyan dollars. So what happens is initially when you come here, you need to bear your ticket fees. You need to bear your visa fees as well, and you need to even bring enough amount to last for 2 to 3 weeks or even more. They also give you this banking information. That if you're so what happens is like I arrived at like 14 June. So for the slot for the people who arrived from 11 June to something around 30th June, they will get their first funding on 1st July, let's say. So that is how it goes. So now for like 14 June to 1st July, I need to have enough amount, last year. And then you need to actually, for accommodations, you need to look things by yourself. So that is actually, personally, that was one of the biggest learning experiences that I got here. You have to search for your own residences. And obviously, some residences are really cheap, some are really, high priced if you go for student residences, but then they're also very comfortable. So this is like you choose on your own. And what I would say is like MITACS funding is more than enough. Now obviously if you go with the visa thing, getting visa is a very tedious process. So for most of the Pakistani interns, we got a visa like very late, when our start dates were just about to approach. So majority of the us did not apply for, did not earlier on. So if we booked our flight earlier on, we could have actually fall into that 1500 Canadian dollar की जो limit थी उसके अंदर हम आराम से अपनी flights book कर लेते हैं. But then obviously वीज़ा का डिले की वजह से हमारी फ्लाइट्स बहुत महंगी हो गई. तो अब वो जो एक्स्ट्रा कॉस्ट है वो हम पर ही आ रही है. लेकिन ऑलरेडी जो माईटेक्स ने एक अच्छा खासा मतलब अमाउंट हर चीज़ के लिए एलोकेट कर दिया है. आई होप दैट आंसर्ड योर क्वेश्चन.
Yeah, you answered very well. So basically, when you come here, you are bearing the ticket price, visa fee, and you should be having money that should last for 3 to 4 weeks. And once you get there, they refund it, right?
Yeah, they refund it to you. So there are like basically three, you get funds in three installments. So yeah.
Okay, Hira, thank you so much for being with us. I think this answers pretty much all of the questions. And I believe that being a student of NUST, you'll be more than happy to answer queries of any candidates from the NUST. So that would not be a problem to reach you as well. I must say this.
Yeah, sure. I'd be happy to help. Even after this interview, you can hit me up on LinkedIn and ask me. I'd be
Sure,
glad to answer.
sure, sure. So, Hira, would you like to give any closing remarks before we end this session?
Um, One thing I'd say for sure, do not think of your CV as any less to not even apply. I mean, uh, for there are a lot of people who say, well, I don't have any research experience. Why should I apply? I mean, go give your shot. You're gonna, secure something good. Do apply. It's a very it's worth it. This program is worth it.
All right, Hira. Thank you so much for being here with us. I wish you a very best of luck in your all future endeavors and good luck and Allah Hafiz. Thank you
Thank
so
you so much for
much.
having me. Allah Hafiz.
Yes.